Two people wake up early. Both work hard. Both feel tired. Both carry bills, pressure, and responsibilities. Yet one slowly builds peace, freedom, and wealth. The other stays trapped in stress, urgency, and survival. Why? Most people say luck, connections, education, timing. Those things matter, but they do not explain why some people with every advantage still lose everything, while others with little quietly rise. The real difference is often hidden in something older than modern finance. A principle found inside Book of Proverbs. Many read Proverbs as inspiration. Others read it as instruction. That changes everything, because Proverbs teaches that poverty is rarely sudden. It grows through small daily neglect, the habit of avoiding discipline, the habit of buying relief, the habit of living emotionally, the habit of staying busy while building nothing. And wealth. Wealth usually grows the same way, quietly, through repeated discipline, wise restraint, patient decisions, small actions done consistently long after excitement fades. That is why two people can earn similar money and live opposite lives. One spends to feel powerful now. The other builds power for later. One reacts. The other directs. One looks successful. The other becomes secure. Proverbs keeps returning to one uncomfortable truth. Life responds differently to the disciplined than it does to the careless. Modern culture hates that message. It sells speed. Proverbs honors patience. It sells appearance. Proverbs honors substance. It sells comfort. Proverbs honors stewardship. It says more income solves everything. Proverbs asks what kind of person receives that income. Because money does not fix patterns. It amplifies them. If someone is careless with little, more becomes dangerous. If someone is wise with little, more becomes fuel. That is why some people get raises and stay broke. Others grow slowly and become free. The real issue was never only money. It was behavior. It was structure. It was daily choices no one could see. There is a golden rule beneath many strong financial lives. Not flashy wealth, real wealth. The kind that lowers stress, creates options, survives setbacks, helps the next generation start stronger. And the shocking part is this. Many people already know the rule. They just ignore it every day. They admire wisdom, then choose impulse. They praise discipline, then finance impatience. They want harvest, while neglecting the seed. So in this video, we are going to uncover the ancient principle that quietly separates builders from strugglers. And once you see it, you may realize something powerful. You never had only a money problem. You had a pattern problem. And patterns can change. Poverty rarely begins with one big disaster. It usually begins with small decisions repeated daily. A purchase made to relieve stress. A bill ignored. A promise made without thinking. Another month without learning a new skill. Another week spent busy. But building nothing. None of these choices feel dangerous. That is why they continue. Book of Proverbs warns that ruin often comes little by little. A little laziness, a little waste, a little haste, a little neglect, small habits, heavy consequences. Many people think money problems come only from low income. Sometimes they do, but often the deeper problem is unmanaged behavior. Money enters, then disappears, not into assets, not into savings, not into growth, into pressure, impulse, comfort, temporary relief. The future receives nothing. That is the trap. Working hard all month, only to restart the struggle again next month. Same stress, same anxiety, same cycle. This is why two people can earn similar amounts and live completely different lives. One uses money to escape the present. The other uses money to build the future. One rewards emotion first. The other rewards discipline first. One buys what feels good now. The other buys freedom later. That difference looks small today, but repeated for years, it becomes massive. Because patterns collect interest. Wise habits compound. Careless habits compound too. More income does not automatically solve this. If habits stay broken, higher income often creates bigger mistakes, bigger payments, bigger lifestyle, bigger obligations, same stress. That is why some people earn more and still feel trapped. The pattern survived the paycheck. So before anything changes financially, something must change daily. Because your future is not shaped most by rare events. It is shaped by repeated behavior. And that leads us to the golden rule. Rich people quietly follow every single day. So what is the rule? It is simple. Spend less than you produce and use the difference to build assets that grow. That is the ancient divide. Most people use surplus to upgrade lifestyle. Wise people use surplus to upgrade ownership. This principle appears all through Book of Proverbs. The wise store, the diligent build, the prudent prepare, the foolish consume everything in sight. That is why this rule feels boring to many people. Because it has no drama, no overnight miracle, no flashy shortcut, no sudden rescue, just repeated wisdom. Earn, keep margin, build something, repeat. But that repetition is exactly where wealth is born. Every time you keep part of what you earn, you create power. Every time you invest in something productive, you create leverage. Every time you delay unnecessary pleasure, you buy future freedom. The rich understand this quietly. They know income alone is fragile. Ownership is stronger. Skills that pay repeatedly are stronger. Assets that grow while you sleep are stronger. That is why two people can earn the same amount, yet one becomes stable while the other stays dependent. One consumes the extra. One converts the extra. That single difference changes everything over time. Because money kept can work. Money spent is gone. Money invested can return with friends. Money wasted returns as regret. The golden rule is not really about money. It is about direction. Do your daily choices feed appearances or build foundations? Do they impress strangers or strengthen your future? Do they create pressure or create options? Most ignore this rule because results are slow at first. But slow growth becomes powerful growth. And once momentum begins, life feels different. Less panic, more margin, less dependence, more choice. That is why rich people use this rule quietly, because they know the loudest gains often disappear fastest. Real wealth usually grows in silence. Hard work is honorable, but hard work alone does not guarantee wealth. Many of the most exhausted people in society are not rich. They wake early, work long hours, carry pressure, solve problems all day, yet remain stuck. Why? Because effort without structure becomes survival. You can work harder every year and still move nowhere if all your energy is spent maintaining a system that never grows. Book of Proverbs praises diligence, but diligence is often misunderstood. It is not endless activity. It is wise effort directed toward increase. That means work should eventually build something beyond today's paycheck, a skill with higher value, a business, an investment base, a network, a reputation that creates opportunity. Without that, labor is consumed the moment it is paid. This is the trap many people never see. They trade time for money, then spend the money recovering from trading the time. Rest to recover, buying to cope, escaping to reset, then repeating it again. That cycle feels normal because millions live it, but normal does not mean effective. The wealthy often understand one key truth: income from labor is limited. There are only so many hours in a day. But income from systems, ownership, and assets can grow beyond your direct effort. That is why some people become freer while working less. They are no longer paid only for hours. They are paid for what they built. Hard work matters. But hard work must graduate into leverage. Otherwise, a person becomes strong while staying stuck. So the real question is not only, how hard do you work? It is, what is your work creating that can outlast the day? Because if your effort dies every evening, tomorrow always starts at zero. The biggest difference is not income. It is thinking. Many people look at money emotionally. Rich people tend to look at money strategically. Before buying something, they ask, will this grow or disappear? Will this create freedom or create maintenance? Will this pay me back or only cost me more later? That pause changes everything. Most people buy based on feeling, stress, reward, impatience, comparison, boredom. Wise people buy based on consequence. That is why two people can receive the same money and create opposite results. One sees extra cash and thinks consumption. The other sees extra cash and thinks opportunity. Book of Proverbs repeatedly honors prudence. The prudent think ahead. They see tomorrow hidden inside today's choices. They know many expensive mistakes begin as exciting moments. A new payment, a rushed decision, an ego purchase, a deal not examined carefully. What feels good now can feel heavy later. Rich people also understand the cost of clutter. Too many payments, too many obligations, too many things demanding attention. Every unnecessary burden steals focus and future options. So instead of asking, can I afford this? They often ask, what will this cost me beyond money? Time, energy, stress, attention, flexibility. That question protects wealth quietly, because not all costs appear on the receipt. The poor mindset often seeks proof of success. The rich mindset often seeks control of life. One wants to look powerful. The other wants to become free. That is why wealthy decisions can seem boring from the outside. Less showing off, less reacting, less emotional spending. But behind that calm is strength. Because when choices are guided by principle instead of impulse, money stops controlling the person. The person starts directing the money. And that shift changes everything. This rule only changes life when it becomes action. Not next year. Not when income increases. Today, start with one simple move. Create margin. No wealth grows where everything is consumed. If every dollar already has an emergency waiting for it, the future has no room to breathe. So begin by keeping something. Even small amounts matter, because the habit is more powerful than the size. Then direct that margin with purpose. Part to protection, part to growth, part to opportunity. Protection means savings and stability. Growth means learning skills, investing, or building something productive. Opportunity means having resources ready when the right moment appears. Book of Proverbs praises preparation because prepared people can move when others freeze. Next, reduce silent leaks, subscriptions you forgot, impulse purchases, status spending, convenience habits, draining progress. Small leaks sink large futures, then increase value, not just effort. Ask yourself, what can I learn that pays more than more hours ever could? A better skill can outperform years of exhaustion. After that, automate discipline. Save first. Invest regularly. Remove decisions that depend on mood. Because moods change. Systems remain. And protect your attention. Many financial mistakes are born in distraction. Scrolling, comparing, reacting, buying, because others are buying. Stay focused on your path. Finally, be patient. At first, progress feels slow. Then structure begins to work for you. Stress lowers. Choices improve. Confidence returns. That is when people think luck arrived. But it was not luck. It was repeated wisdom. The golden rule does not demand perfection. It demands direction. And the best time to begin is the first honest decision you make after hearing this. You may have thought your problem was only money. For many people, it is not. It is the pattern behind the money, the habits that quietly drained progress, the choices that rewarded the present and robbed the future. The cycles repeated so often, they started to feel normal. That is why more income alone does not always create peace. Without wisdom, more money often feeds old behavior. With wisdom, even small money can begin building freedom. Book of Proverbs has always pointed to this truth. A wise life grows differently than a careless one. Not overnight, but inevitably, little by little. Discipline becomes margin. Margin becomes stability. Stability becomes opportunity. Opportunity becomes wealth. And wealth, at its highest form, is not luxury. It is peace. It is options. It is the ability to help others. It is the power to make decisions without fear. Many chase riches and miss this. They want visible success. But real success is often invisible at first. Less stress, less debt, more control, more patience, more freedom. That is wealth in seed form. So do not be discouraged if your beginning looks small. Small disciplined steps can outperform large emotional moves. One honest budget, one payment removed, one investment started, one skill learned, one repeated wise decision. That is how lives turn. Not through magic, through alignment. The golden rule was never hidden because it was complicated. It was hidden because most people ignore simple truths. Spend with wisdom. Keep margin. Build steadily. Choose future over impulse. Repeat until life changes. And one day, what once felt impossible becomes normal. Not because luck found you, because wisdom did.